Good evening and welcome back to Hall Zone. I'm Emily Mancusi and I will be your sports news anchor for this episode. Tonight, we will be covering the NBA suspension of Paul George, a key coaching decision by the Buffalo Bills, and a strong week for Seton Hall basketball. This is Hall Zone. We begin in the NBA with a development that has generated league-wide attention and raised important questions about policy, player health, and accountability. Paul George of the Philadelphia 76ers has been suspended for 25 games after violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. The suspension was announced at the end of January and took effect immediately, removing one of Philadelphia's most experienced players from the lineup for a substantial portion of the regular season. George, a 9-time NBA All-Star and a player known for his two-way impact, released a statement accepting full responsibility for the violation. He explained that the issue stemmed from taking improper medication while seeking mental health treatment. This detail has added important context and opens the door to a broader discussion around how players navigate medical care within the confines of their strict league policy. From a competitive standpoint, the suspension is a significant blow to Philadelphia. George has provided steady scoring, defensive versatility, and veteran presence, averaging 16 points per game while playing a key role on both ends of the court. His absence comes during a critical stretch in the Eastern Conference, where the margin between playoff seeding or missing the postseason entirely is extremely thin. The 76ers now face important decisions regarding rotations and possible roster adjustments as they attempt to remain competitive without one of their core players. We now shift to the NFL, where the Buffalo Bills have made a notable move in their continued effort to remain among the AFC's top contenders. Buffalo has hired Jim Leonhard as its new defensive coordinator, a decision that shows the team's clear emphasis on structure, discipline, and strategy as the team looks ahead into the 2026 season. Leonhard enters the role with a unique combination of experience and familiarity. He began his NFL career as a player with Buffalo, giving him first-hand knowledge of the organization's culture and expectations. Since then, he has built a resume grounded in defensive development and strategic adjustment, most notably during his time at Wisconsin, where his units were known for consistency, fundamental execution, and strong secondary play. From an operations standpoint, this hire appears to be less about reinvention and more about stability. The Bills have remained competitive in the AFC, but recent games have exposed areas where defensive identity and in-game adjustments have been inconsistent. Leonhard's background emphasizes communication, responsibility, and situational awareness. So as Buffalo continues to operate with next year's season in mind, Leonhard's approach will be important to watch throughout the offseason and training camp. We close our sports news segment tonight with a Pirates basketball update. Seton Hall put together an impressive performance last week by earning 2 wins that highlighted the team's ability to work together and grow after some hard losses. The run began mid-last week with a hard-fought victory over Xavier, a game that tested Seton Hall's ability to execute against a physical, well-coached opponent. The Pirates controlled the second half of the game, maintaining composure and securing a win. That momentum carried into the weekend, where Seton Hall completed a 69-64 comeback victory over Marquette. After a difficult first half, the Pirates adjusted defensively, slowed the pace, and sealed the deal in the second half. Bud Clark led the way against Marquette with 19 points and 6 assists, providing steady leadership and decision-making as the clock ran out. While A.J. Staten-McCray delivered a crucial three-pointer late in the game that helped secure the win. Bud Clark manages to get another honor from the Big East with Big East Player of the Week. This comes after he averages 21 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds over the last 2 games. With back-to-back victories, Seton Hall improved to 16-6 overall and continued to strengthen its position within the conference. More importantly, these wins serve as a boost of encouragement for Seton Hall after some rough games. Let's hope the Pirates keep this momentum going through the rest of the season. That's all for sports news this week. When we get back, we will have Anchor Point, the official debate show of Hall Zone. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me is Will Gilhooly and Anthony Vega for Anchor Point. We're going to start our night off with college basketball. Okay, guys, so conference play is tightening up, bubble teams are fighting for their lives, and seeding matters more every week. So getting to March Madness, what conference are you watching the closest? Will?
You know, when thinking of conferences to watch the most, especially when it comes time for March, I feel like there's two main things to look for in a conference when determining who's going to run March this year. The first is do you have your powerhouse teams? The second is do you have your bubble and low depth teams like the 7 through 10 seeds to really make a run and really claim March. And lucky for us, we have that conference, and it is the Big Ten. The same conference that ran college football is also running college basketball this year. The Big Ten currently has 11 teams in the projected field of 68, according to Joe Lunardi of ESPN. And you have your front runners also. It's not like you've got a bunch of 8 and 9 seeds. You've got a projected number 1 seed in Michigan. You got projected 2 seeds, Illinois and Nebraska. 3 seeds, Michigan State and Purdue. Number 7, Iowa. You've got projected 9 seeds, Wisconsin. And Indiana, who has shocked the college basketball world, defeating Indiana, going to overtime against UCLA and pulling one out. And you've got USC and Ohio State on the bubble, but currently in the field right now. I think there's no better conference than the Big Ten right now because you've got all these front runners. I mean, Michigan completely retooled their team and has taken college basketball by storm. I mean, they went 8 games in a row in October and they won by 40 points every single game, including going and beating teams like Auburn and Gonzaga and Villanova, who are all very much in the field of 68 right now. I think there's no better team and no better conference to be watching right now than the Big Ten.
Okay.
Well, I do agree the Big Ten is absolutely incredible, and you mentioned how they have the most teams in Joe Lunardi's projected March Madness tournament in a group of 68. I want to take a look at yesterday's AP Top 25, which had 6 teams in the Big 12 ranked there, which is the conference I believe we all need to be watching going into March Madness. At the bottom, you have number 16 BYU, number 13 Texas, number 11 Kansas, number 8 Houston, number 7 Iowa State, and then all the way at the top, undefeated so far to start the year at 22-0, number 1 Arizona. You mentioned powerhouses. Arizona is going for something that we haven't seen in such a long time. You know, we remember how close Gonzaga was back during the 2020 COVID season and being perfect at the whole year. Arizona is going for that right now. They have the storyline of them, and what's very key with watching these Big 12 games, a lot of these powerhouses have yet to play themselves in each other. You're in for a lot of great matchups still down to come. Again, headlined by Arizona, who has so many more exciting games down the road.
Yeah, so we're looking at Big 10 and Big 12. For your decisions, are you making this choice on talent, coaching, or experience? Like, what do you factor in when you're trying to make a decision?
I do believe the Big 12 definitely has a lot of good teams, but what separates the Big 10 in comparison is the veteran experience from every single one of these teams. The past 5 NCAA tournament teams have had a combined 2 freshmen starting amongst NCAA champion teams. Florida last year had 0 freshmen in their starting 5, and this year you've got teams like Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Purdue, and Illinois all have 0 freshmen in their starting 5. Or no, Illinois does have 1, but you get the gist of it. They are veteran groups led by incredible coaches. I mean, what better group than you have Tom Izzo, arguably the best coach in college basketball right now. He's been doing this longer than everyone. You have Nebraska as a jumpstart program. Michigan has been incredible following the hiring of their new coach from Florida Atlantic. And I think when you look at the Big Ten, these are teams that you can really see win it. You see the Big 12, they got their front runners, but it's a bunch of freshmen that you have guys like Darren Peterson who aren't even playing full seasons. AJ DeBonsa, who, yeah, he's great, but is he really going to get the help that he needs at BYU to lead him to a championship? I don't think so. And you see Houston, I mean, they've been a little inconsistent. They always pride themselves on defense, which it really hasn't been there. I mean, Texas Tech dropped 90 on them. When you want a team, when you look for a conference, you want to watch a conference that is going to have the most front runners. And the Big Ten has that with all the guys up front. They've got the depth. Veteran leadership is why teams are winning championships now more than ever in NIL. Teams like Illinois and Michigan are paying players millions of dollars to play one season. Yaxel Lendenberg is only going to play one season. Tomislav Ivicic is only going to play one season. But these teams know that they need the veteran leadership, something that the Big 12 simply does not have, and it's what's going to prevent them from getting a team into the national title, and more than likely having the Big 10 hoist something up for the second time this year.
You mentioned how there's less likely than odds that a Big 12 team competes in the national championship. Houston is coming off a national championship game appearance where they lost and, truth be told, collapsed against Florida. They are a very hungry team. That loss still stings with them a lot of last year. And you mentioned how great Tom Izzo is as a head coach. Bill Self in Kansas has more than that same, well, maybe not the exact same resume, a very similar one with a lot of great history and a lot of great prestige. There's still plenty more great Big 12 basketball that we're still in to come. And you mentioned how you need the powerhouses. What March is also built on is Cinderella, shock teams that you don't really see. You look at potential Oklahoma State, who's currently on the outside looking in, and where they could maybe stand. And in being that, while not the traditional Cinderella team, be one of those possible first four and last four out situations, kind of how UCLA was back during the 2020 COVID season.
Yeah, but the only thing about these Big 12 teams is that, yeah, they've got bubble teams, but none of them are really playing hot right now. I mean, you have the Big 10 bubble teams. I mean, Indiana's won 3 in a row, much less beating their arch rival number 12 Purdue. You have Iowa, who's gotten many really good wins so far, and Nebraska. I mean, who in the world thought Nebraska basketball would be here right now? So I just don't see the bubble team argument for the Big 12 for me right now.
Well, I agree that's fair. I think there's still plenty more Big 12 basketball that we have left to watch. It's really, I think, can separate and add more to the bubble resume. I mentioned Oklahoma State. They have a bunch of key games coming up next. I want to highlight March 3rd. They play at UCF, who's currently one of those teams projected to be in Joe Lunardi's group of 68 for March Madness, as well as some other bubble teams such as West Virginia. They have a bunch of more games against teams that are currently not only ranked, but also competing for tournament spots, such as February 8th hosting Texas Tech, February 14th at UCF, and then February 28th hosting BYU. Key games that if they can win those, it can not only add to their strength and resume, but be a really strong boost for them to enter the March Madness tournament.
Yeah, okay, so we'll keep an eye on how this plays out in March, but let's shift to the NBA now. So we're past the halfway point of our season. Narratives are starting to form. Debates are coming up about who might get MVP. So, who are you guys looking at? Anthony?
I'll start us out here. When I look at MVP, I wanted to really factor in, the NBA, where it's very much a growing game, and there's not really much better symbol of that than down in San Antonio with Victor Wembanyama, who's really reviving the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to draw a football analogy here, very similar to how Drake May has done with the New England Patriots. Wembanyama has built back that dynasty in San Antonio, currently has them as the second best team in the Western Conference behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. And very important to note, when Wembanyama has played with them for the Spurs, or is against the Thunder, he currently holds a 3-1 record against them.
Yeah, the point I'd like to highlight, though, there is when he plays, because Victor Wembanyama has missed 14 games in this NBA season. He can only miss 3 more and still even be eligible to win the MVP. So I really just don't like those odds, and especially a guy who missed almost all last year. He only played 46 games last year. In his rookie season, he missed 10. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is someone who I would like to highlight as the current MVP right now. He is currently averaging 32, 6, and 4, along with the steal and a block. Man, the defense has really stepped up for SGA. This is what I've loved about his game so far this year. He's also shooting historically high efficiency. He is currently 3rd in the NBA in efficiency with 32. He has a shooting percentage of 39 from 3, 36 from the field, and he currently leads all guards in effective field goal percentage with 61. And it's really interesting to note that Shai is doing something which not much guards in the history of the NBA do, and that's leading a lot of advanced metrics. You see, advanced metrics are why analysts are picking guys like Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama to win MVP awards, because they often cater to centers. Centers are getting more rebounds, so whenever they're getting assists and doing playmaking, it looks a lot better for those advanced metrics. And also, shooting percentage is also very skewed towards centers, because when you look at a shot map of a guy like Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, it's a lot of inside play, and they're also guarding guys that are consistently smaller than them. So it's very impressive to see that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander currently leads the NBA in win shares in both offense and defense, and he's currently rated the second best player offensively, and he is a top 10 rated defensive player in the NBA. Not just top 10 guard, top 10 player, which you just don't see. So yes, while Victor Wembanyama is going to get those defensive stats, does it really mean that much when he's guarding guys so much smaller and you have all these advanced metrics catered so much towards guys his size?
So then when we're looking at most valuable player, we can't just think about like the best player. So what makes an MVP? Does team record matter? What are you factoring in when you're deciding MVP? I know we touched on it a little bit.
I do agree that team record matters, but I also want to take into account the value of the player. You mentioned how Victor Wembanyama missed almost half of last season. He's unfortunately due to blood clots, which thankfully he's recovered from. But you look at where the Spurs were last year here compared to this year. Before Wembanyama's injury, they were fighting in that play-in spot, and then after that, they completely tanked and collapsed, falling into the NBA draft lottery. Ended up being a blessing in disguise, allowed them to draft Dylan Harper in the first round of this year. But with Wembanyama coming back to being healthy enough this year, not to mention the change. Greg Popovich, no longer the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, transitioning from that. San Antonio's been playing much better than I think a lot of people expected in the heavily stacked Western Conference. And I do want to point out now, Wembanyama is the lone all-star selection for the San Antonio Spurs, whereas Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a little bit of a luxury playing with another incredible all-star in Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, but when you say valuable, as in someone who's helping a team when he's on the floor, Victor Wembanyama just isn't on the floor. He's not being valuable to his team like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, who hasn't missed a game this year. And you talk about the value that he gets. He currently leads the NBA in replacement player rating with 5.6, meaning that if another player from the Thunder was to take over for SGA, God forbid something happens, I mean, no team, literally no of the other 30 NBA teams is in a worse spot than the Oklahoma City Thunder because of the value SGA brings to the floor. And I'd like to point out Victor Wembanyama isn't even in the top 3 in that list. Nikola Jokic is second at 5.4. Luka Doncic is third at 3.9. So the value that Shai brings is a lot more than people think. I want to, again, harp on the defense that Shai is bringing. That's something that has been so criticized of him, especially in series when you have him going up against guys like Anthony Edwards, who kind of picked him apart a little bit. And now he is in the top 10 defensive rating of any player. He has stepped up so much. He knows that the Thunder are backed by defense, and he is shifting his game. He's playing less minutes this year. He's only playing 32 minutes a game because he knows that down the stretch, he's going to be the guy that they need. He is accepting the load management while still playing every single game and is being a true hero for this team. And there's one more narrative that I would like to touch on with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, why a lot of people don't think he should be the MVP, and that's the free throw merchant narrative. I hate this so much because, well, first of all, he doesn't even shoot the most free throws in the NBA. Let's just get that out of the way. Luka Doncic is taking 11 free throws per game, and no one really wants to talk about that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in last year's playoffs in 13-game stretch shot 125 free throws, which, I mean, we can all admit that's a lot. But what we're not talking about is that in 2009, LeBron James shot 188 in the same stretch. 89, Michael Jordan shot 190. D. Wade in 06 shot 136. Kobe in 08 shot 145. Larry Legend shot 138 in 84. Magic shot 134 in 1980. And AI shot 129 in 2001. So there's a really big narrative right now. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is getting criticized for what NBA legends have done all throughout their career. And that's getting to the free throw line and putting themselves in plays that they get contact and are able to get more shots up. And I think it's really time that we accept what's really going on with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and stop this stupid narrative. And it's just SGA is unguardable. Play better defense. Maybe you'll stop fouling him. I don't know what these critics want from him.
It's entirely fair. I didn't want to bring the free throw merchant thing up because, much like you, I do agree it's kind of pointless. But I do really want to harken on the fact that Oklahoma City still does have an incredible excess amount of talent. I don't know them where while yes you can take SGA out of the game and the Thunder offense will decline, there's still other talent around him where you can build that success. As, again, Chet Holmgren is doing incredible both sides of the court this year. Jalen Williams, while he's not playing to that same all-star level he was last year, he's still an incredible basketball player and where you know what to expect with him. And the Thunder depth, in my eyes, is second to none, especially when it can handle those situations. But whereas San Antonio, once Wembanyama is kind of out of the game, you're honing in and focused straight on De'Aaron Fox. Whereas once Fox and Wembanyama are both on the court at the same time, opens up more for them, allows for more of a focus to be on San Antonio and Wembanyama, and then allowing more to be happening with Fox and the rest of the team to go as he goes.
Yeah, those are some really great arguments for MVP, and we're going to have to see how the rest of the season plays out. Hopefully it plays out in your guys' favor. But that is it for us at Anchor Point. Stay with us for an exclusive interview with Neve Campbell.
For all, forever. A promise that began 170 years ago and still guides us today. A legacy of knowledge, faith, and transformation. Born of vision, built on community. We are one university with one mission: to create an immensity of future good. As Mother Seton once hoped, to prepare minds, to open doors, to lead with compassion. This is Seton Hall. Driven by purpose, united by faith, reason, and possibility. And now, a campaign to elevate every Setonian, for all, forever. A historic goal to touch every corner of our university and every member of our community. We prepare leaders through scholarship. We enrich education through immersive experience and global reach. We strengthen our cornerstones with academic excellence, research, and faith. Because every gift touches every student, today and for generations to come. For opportunity, for discovery, for community. Join us in shaping the next 170 years. For all, forever. A campaign for a greater Seton Hall.
Welcome back to Hall Zone. My name is Manny Pereira, and I get the privilege of being joined by one of the exemplary students at Seton Hall, especially among sports media students, Neve Campbell. How you doing, Neve?
Good, how are you?
Good. Pleasure to have you on. Actually, she's one of the reasons I'm here in this seat. During Pirate Preview last year, was harassing you with questions about the school, and now I'm kind of doing the same thing here, interviewing you. Instead, we're going to get into your personal life. Obviously, you've done a lot here in the last 3 years. You're a junior now, and you're from England. You also are from Arizona. You share both hometowns. You went to high school in Spain, so not the typical background for a student here at Seton Hall. Why did you choose South Orange?
I mean, one of the reasons that I ended up choosing South Orange was not only because of the Center for Sports Media, but then also I am a tennis player here too. So the biggest thing for me was finding a place where I could explore my passion for sports media. I knew that's what I wanted to eventually go into, but I wasn't ready to hang up the rackets quite yet. So I needed a place where I would be able to play at the level that I knew I could. And Seton Hall ended up being the option for me, and I'm just really happy that it ended up working out.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're obviously doing a lot. Here's a list of things that you're currently up to. There might be more, but this is what I found. So obviously, you're a full-time student here. You're a co-captain of a Division I tennis team, obviously here at Seton Hall, and you're running the social media. You're the media manager for Intentional Education Group based in the UK, senior production manager and play-by-play commentator for PSN. There's still more. And according to the article in the magazine that we're going to show off very soon, you also still make time for cooking, hanging out with friends, and also, in the meantime, you've won 4 student-athlete honors in the last 2 years. Your coach said that you have a 30-hour day that he hasn't figured out on how to unlock. How do you manage to excel at so many things at the same time?
I mean, honestly, for me, I just want to try and throw myself into anything and everything. Seton Hall has given me so many opportunities, but this has kind of been who I am since I was younger. When I was in middle school, I think I played every single sport that was available. Like, I was even in flag football. Like, I was doing everything. I was also doing speech and debate for 4 years. There was so much stuff that I wanted to do, and to be honest, I like being able to try a little bit of everything, and just with the amount that Seton Hall had to offer, I couldn't say no to basically any of it. So I ended up doing all of this stuff, but I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned being able to be in so many different organizations and activities.
So ambition is one thing, obviously you have a lot of it, but how are you able to manage it so well, and what's advice that you would give to a young student trying to do so many things at the same time?
I mean, honestly, I have to thank my mom for that. So Intentional Education Group is her company, and her mission is to help students with executive function skills, which is basically like, how do you organize yourself? How do you plan? How do you prioritize? How do you manage your time? And I've learned so much from her. She's helped me so much, and that's really why I can have so many activities and so many things to do. Is like my coach said, I have a 30-hour day. Every minute of that day is accounted for. It's doing something, but a part of that is also finding time for myself, and all the activities I do I enjoy, but then in terms of like cooking, hanging out with friends, like that's something that is very important to me. I value a lot, and that means making time for that as well. So it's not forgetting the little things that makes life even better.
It's excellent. That's excellent advice that we should all try to apply. So now let's go into the playing side for you. You've won a single and a double to start this spring thus far, and overall this season you've won over 50% of your matches. How do you feel about how your junior year has gone, and what do you expect going forward towards the end of the season?
Junior year has started off quite well for me. I'm really happy with the way that things have gone. We've played 4 matches so far, and I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling very good about my tennis at the moment, and I'm playing doubles with Anastasia, who was my roommate freshman and sophomore year. We've been together all 3 years, so it's been really nice to kind of be able to play doubles with her more this year than we have in the past. So feeling very comfortable out on the court, and honestly for me, I know that I have 2 seasons left of tennis, and I'll never play at, this level of competitiveness again. So it's really just remembering that I've been doing this for what will be 18 years by the time I graduate. It's time to just enjoy every moment that I have on the court.
No doubt about it. And you've also been enjoying your time outside of the court, in front of the camera, any camera on campus. Explain the ways in specific that the Center for Sports Media has helped you develop as a young broadcaster here at Seton Hall.
Well, when I came in as a freshman, the executive director of the Center for Sports Media was actually Jane McManus. So we had a couple of opportunities through there, but I was still a freshman. I didn't really know much. And then that's when BJ Schechter came in, and he has been incredible. He's helped me out so much. Just the opportunities that we've had, specifically the Pirates in the Field program, being able to work with that. I spoke to him last year actually, because they implemented it, and every single event was in the spring, and I was like, BJ, I've got matches every single weekend. I need to do something. So he was lucky enough to add some stuff in the fall, actually allowed me to go to the Racket at the Rocket. The Prudential Center wasn't originally on the calendar, but had a blast, got to see like Alcaraz TFO, Pegula and Isamova, so a great event to be able to go and cover. Went to the Coretta Scott King Classic just a couple of weeks ago, and then all going well, should be heading to the World Cup this summer, and that's just a dream of mine. I love football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, but BJ has helped me out a lot with that, as well as Dean Crable, both being super supportive and just really grateful for every opportunity that they've given me.
Yeah, no doubt. And then you're not just doing that with BJ Schechter, obviously doing a lot for Tom Chen over at PSN. Congratulations, by the way, on getting to call an NCAA tournament playoff game here at Seton Hall. You crushed it with the color commentary. What has your experience been like at PSN, and what are ways that students can take advantage of it?
PSN has been amazing. I honestly don't think there's another organization in the country like it. I know that we were talking about this earlier, but I started PSN before I had even taken a class at Seton Hall. I was here doing a game the weekend before classes started my freshman year. Started off doing camera work, and I told Tom at the beginning, like, I love doing the behind the scenes stuff, but I really want to get on camera. He texted me before the swim season started, and he's like, hey, like, we're looking to do a swim and dive preview. Would you mind coming and doing it? That was the first time I've done an on-camera work, and I'm basically swim and dives like, presenter now, because I've done it so much, and the opportunities just grew from there. Was able to do sideline reporting sophomore year, And then this year really dove into the commentating, the producing, the directing, because we had so many seniors leave. A lot of us juniors had to kind of step up and fill those positions. And like you said, like the NCAA tournament game, like that was just an incredible experience from, you know, start to end. And the start of it was literally 3 days before the game. I had already started making my boards, doing the interviews, researching. I spent, you know, well over probably 8 hours preparing for that game. But it was all worth it in the end, and it was an amazing game to cover from, you know, the first whistle to the PKs at the end. And I would say that PSN is just an amazing opportunity to try your hand at everything, no matter what you want to do. And to be honest, it's a way for people to learn what they want to do. I never thought I'd be interested in directing or producing. I actually love the replay machine as well. I'm a big fan of replay.
I like it too, to be honest.
So I think that for any student looking to get into TV, throw yourself in PSN, because you're going to get a chance to try everything. And the more you show up, the more opportunities you get. And that's kind of how I ended up in the position that I am now.
No doubt. And some students, what they want to do is dive right into this, being on camera or doing color commentary, play-by-play like you've done. How important is it to learn everything behind the scenes as well?
It is more important than you can actually put into words, I'll say that, because one of the things that I learned was I was producing a game, and then I believe it was Ryder. He was on play-by-play or color, and he was like, hey, he was like, you know, when you're producing, he was like, you're giving me great advice. He's like, but it's just too much. Like, you're talking at the wrong times. And I was like, okay. So I was like, need to figure that out. Because then when I have a producer in my ear, it's nice to know that, you know, they're not going to say as much, or no one to tell them to stop talking and stuff like that. And it's all, you all end up working together. And I was actually in the class with Amy Rosenfeld last semester, the live sports production class. And one of the things she said is, the commentators, the producer, and the director, they're all storytellers. The commentators and the presenters, they may be on the screen, but the producer's the one that's deciding what gets talked about, and the director is telling you what's getting shown. So all of them are working together to tell a story. And for me, that was one of the best pieces of advice that I've received. And I'm able to put that in PSN. So for anyone trying to get on camera, got to learn what's going on behind it first.
So just from listening to you, it sounds like you've made a lot of relationships here, and very quickly. How important is it to make relationships with the right people, and what advice do you have for people to go about that?
No, networking is incredibly important. I've learned that. And my dad, he's a lawyer, but he's also kind of in a sales role as well. And he's always going out to, you know, happy hours, to golf tournaments, to events. And he tells me how important it is to maintain those contacts, because you never know when you're going to need them in the future. And everybody I've met at Seton Hall, I try and remain in contact with in one way or another, even if it's just through, you know, a connection on LinkedIn. But being able to do that, you learn so much from people. And I would tell anybody, like, put yourself out there. That's the only way you're going to make connections. So even if you're going to go and do an event or go and help out with something that you're not necessarily super interested in, you never know who's going to be there, and you never know what's going to come from it. And that's definitely happened to me. And I would just say you have to take every single opportunity that's put before you, because you might meet someone who's going to give you your next job.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's excellent. So now, just looking back, we'll end off with this. You obviously have a stellar resume. It's safe to say that you've crushed it in college thus far, although you have another year left. You're well on your way towards success. Is this what you envisioned your life being growing up?
Actually, no. I always wanted, well, first off, I wanted to be a professional athlete. That's what anybody who plays sports, that's what their goal is. Eventually, reality set in. But I have always had a passion for sports. I love watching it. I love playing every single sport you can think of. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll go into law. Then I decided that I didn't want to do any more school, so law school was out of the picture for me. But it was actually during COVID. I ended up watching a lot of sports, and the commentators had to do so much extra work because the fans weren't there. It was in these like bubbles. And I was like, wow, I literally cannot shut up about sports, so why don't I just make that my job? Ended up looking into it more, and honestly, if you had told 8-year-old me, like, this is what I would be doing and what I wanted to do, I honestly wouldn't have believed you. And more specifically, the fact that I get paid to do it.
That's excellent. Yeah, no doubt about it. So thank you so much, Neve, for coming on, and thank you everyone for watching Hall Zone. That's it for this episode. Have a great day. I'm Manny Pereira. Neve Campbell, good night.